Another incredibly strong fantasy character release, but should you spend your gems on Fantasy Aizawa? Well, I'm here to tell you that here today, but before we go and get started, make sure you guys go down there, click that red subscribe button, make sure it says subscribe, click that bell, turn on all notifications, I'm gonna miss on any future videos, drop a like down below and comment, are you gonna be summoning for Aizawa, saving your gems for anniversary, or are you gonna be summoning for the other upcoming character? But here today, we're going to be talking about the Fantasy Aizawa and should you be summoning on him. Now, here is his banner. Obviously, he's the only rate up character on the banner. We do have the other memories here. We have 3 rate up UR memories and then 2 SR memories here, all of which that are just from fantasy banners specifically. So they are limited to the fantasy banners. All of them, they're okay. I mean, friendly reinforcements is, I think, probably the best memory of these. And then also this memory here as well. This memory here actually would work well with the upcoming Vigilante Deku. So do think that would be really good there. But either way, the Aizawa is who we're here to talk about. Obviously, it has all the gen pool characters and memories and stuff like that. So nothing has really changed in terms of gen pool, but the featured and rate up character, and it also is 1.5 times rates for a banner. And it is for Fantasy Aizawa, and he does go until April 13th. That's roughly give or take like 2 weeks, right? So he's gonna be around for quite a while. So that's actually a long fantasy release. If just before anniversary too, getting this guy right now, it's like, why did he come out? But I do want to say why they released this before Vigilante Deku, because Vigilante Deku is one of the upcoming banners as well. If you guys didn't know, it does release on the 1st of April. But the reason that this guy came out first and not the Vigilante Deku is my opinion. I don't actually know if this is actually the case, but my opinion and thought process on why the Aizawa came out first is because if Deku came out first, then this banner came out, it means you would skip Deku's banner because then Deku would be in the gen pool of Aizawa on a 1.5 times rate banner. And I know that this is basically like the gotcha business side of things, to where, you know, you got to understand business is business. Their goal is to make money, of course. And obviously without like data mines and stuff, we would never know how things are actually progressing in terms of releases and stuff like that. And you know, either way, but with that, Aizawa's coming out because they, I assume, did not want to put Deku in the gen pool on a 1.5 times banner. I know we all would have all loved that to be the case, but I mean, business is business at the end of the day. I do understand why that is the case, and I'm not really fussed about it. I don't think anyone should really be upset about it, because we wouldn't honestly know either way. But I think that's why Aizawa was first, then Vigilante Deku comes out. So I think that's kind of the order of why they did that, is because they didn't want to put Vigilante Deku in the gen pool. Because I know a lot of you out there are actually hyped for Vigilante Deku. He's a very, very hyped character, very sought out, anticipated character to be released in the game, right? I know a lot of people are looking forward to him because it's just, I mean, the character design's really cool and stuff like that. I think a lot of people just want to have that character in the game overall. I know a lot of other hype moments as well, but I know a lot of people want Vigilante Deku as well. And I do think it's good, just kind of focus on Vigilante Deku for a second, that Vigilante Deku being in gen pool is a better thing than him being limited. He's still very good, but I do think him being gen pool is actually better because everyone can get to summon him on any future banners, especially for anniversary banners that are 1.5 times rates and stuff like that. So just wanted to give my 2 cents on that really quickly, but let's focus on Aizawa here from on out. So Aizawa, let's go over what his kit does. I'm gonna be looking at on the database website, link in the description down below, by the way, if you want to check it out. Again, Aizawa's arts, I love his unawakened art versus his awakened. I mean, they're both really cool. I do like both. I just think this one is a little better, maybe. Actually, I think this one animated is a little better, actually. Either way, this is neither here nor there. Let's go ahead and just take a look at this kit real quick. By the way, he is like really fast. By the way, 914 speed at maximum with ADV max, 11,103 power, and 59,752 HP. Again, this is at max ADV. The 9,000 plus blah, 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 all that stuff, like maximums, right? So there is that, keep that in mind. But with Aizawa, his plus ultra cancels all temporary buffs of a single opponent, deals 650% damage to a single opponent, high chance 70% of sealing the opponent's skills for 3 turns, and then a medium chance of causing bleed for 3 turns. So Not too shabby. I do like the higher seal. I do believe MND Aizawa is actually lesser of a chance on his seal on his Plus Ultra. So this one being higher definitely makes him better than MND. But obviously MND is going to be more accessible to everybody. So that is one thing to consider. Like MND Aizawa is going to be more accessible in any banner because he's literally in the general pool. But this Aizawa being limited, he's also a little basically is a better MND Aizawa in my opinion. So if you like using MND Aizawa, I think this guy, if you really like him, this is a guy to summon for as well. If you really want to buff him up. But we'll get into the should you summon here in a minute. His first action skill cancels 3 temporary buffs of a single opponent, decreases the opponent's power by 25% for 3 turns, decreases the opponent's defense by 30% for 3 turns, and then a medium chance 45% of sealing the opponent's skills for 3 turns, and a cooldown of 4. At level 1, at the lowest, it does go to 6 turn. It is 6 turn cooldown and 6 turn cooldown for the action skills. At DX level 2, it is 4 and 4. Actually, it's level, yeah, after level 3, DX 1 and 2 don't actually change the cooldown, but at level 3, it does change to a 4 turn cooldown, and then in DX it's also 4. But again, really good action skill. I do like it. Again, it's literally MND Aizawa almost, but a little better. So his second auto action skill is going to be deals 425% damage to a single opponent, medium chance 50% of binding the opponent for 2 turns, increases characters plus ultra gauge by 40%, also increases skill impact by 30% if the opponent is affected by power down. Again, cooldown to 4 turns, level 1, 6 turns. So there's that. His first auto skill cancels one of the character's status ailments every turn, also increases the speed of all pro hero allies by 25%. And his second auto skill gives character the ability to evade 1 time after receiving an attack from an opponent with piercing shot. Multi-attacks are 1. Give a character barrier that nullifies 1 hit after receiving an attack from an opponent with bullseye. Multi-attacks are also 1 for that. Also increases character's skill impact by 10% when used in a successfully executed skill chain up to 6 times. So just to go over the auto skill real quick, you have to enable to get the evade, you need to have an opponent with piercing shot attack you, and then also to get the barrier, you need an opponent with bullseye to attack you to get the barrier on the character as well. The increased character skill impact, all you have to do is literally do 6 skill chains with Aizawa, and that's it, right? That's literally all you need to do. Up to 6, that's going to be an increase of 60% skill impact to the character after 6 of those skill chains done successfully. So that's going to be a permanent 60% skill impact for this Aizawa. Definitely not too bad at all. Definitely really good. So first, let's look at this Plus Ultra. His Plus Ultra is good, like I mentioned. It's a little better than MND Aizawa's. The seal is great to have, especially if you're going against those opponents that you need to seal and take care of, especially for something like Climax too. If if you're able to seal them off, if they're not like immune to it or anything. But having that seal is definitely good for PvE content too. He also has a medium chance of causing the opponent to bleed, so you get that little extra damage as well from the bleed too, which is nice. So there is that. He does cancel 3 temporary buffs, which is really good in my opinion. 3 temporary buffs. This is also at maximum, by the way. He cancels up to 2 on level 1. So again, you can check this out on the website. It does have all the levels here to look at, but I'm looking at it at the maximum standpoint, by the way. So decreases the opponent's power. I mean, power decrease is also really good. And then decreases defense. Defense decreases fantastic. Again, this would be really good for something like VE Tower, to where you need these status ailment points. So the power decrease, the defense decrease, definitely going to be good to have on that roster for your VE Tower specifically as well. And also you got a 45% chance to seal for 3 turns. Now, the way that this guy is going to work is that, you need that power decrease in this one to get that skill impact increase. So you're going to want to use this skill first, obviously, and then use this one right after it. So you're going to want to decrease the power for 3 turns, then go right into this one. Then it's going to give you that extra skill impact of 30% when the character is affected by power down on the opponent. So that's going to be good as well. So you're going to get the extra skill impact. You're going to get skill impact from that that skill chain execution there. So if you're going, let's say turn 1, turn 2, you're gonna get 20%. I would imagine it goes 20% after after the skill chain is activated. Then you should also get that extra 10% onto this. If not, it's by the next turn. So then you'll at least have a 10% and then an extra 30%. So then let's say here you got 10% and then 30%. So that's 40%, and then another turn. With that extra 10% from the last turn, it's going to be up to 50% skill impact right there by turn 3 for you, if it's activated after the fact or whatever the case. I may be mathing that wrong. So yeah, either way, Increase plus ultra gauge as well. Plus ultra gauge is nice because you want to get that high chance of sealing off really quickly, and also the chance of bleed, so that's going to be good. And also you get to cancel all the temporary buffs of those opponents. You want to get rid of one opponent, so definitely want to get rid of all those buffs, especially if they have like 30 million skill impact increases on the opponent, right? So you definitely want to get rid of them, especially if they're problematic characters. But Aizawa, he is not a bad character. He is very, very good. I think he may be underestimated by a few people, but I do think he's very, very good. But should you summon for him is the question we're asking here today. Now, I know a lot of you are probably going to be saving instead for the Vigilante Deku that's going to be coming out in a few days. Vigilante Deku is also a fantastic character. I will do a should you summon for that character when he releases, so I'm not going to do him in this video here today, but I will do his should you summon after he does release in the game. So stay tuned for that video if you want to check out if you should summon for that character or not. But here today we're talking about Aizawa, and should you summon for him, it's a very tough call. It really depends on your characters that you have. This guy is also a pro hero ally buff. So if you have someone like Genus, Blue All Might, and then this guy on the same team, that speed buff is going to be fantastic for that. Definitely a good pro hero buff character to have on your team. And again, he's a very, very good PvE based character. If you want to beat all these events that you maybe aren't able to beat, this guy could probably help you do that. And also something like VE Tower, where you need those ailment points, so you get the power decrease, the defense decrease, you get the bleed, the seal, all that, all this kind of stuff, right? Especially unless they're immune to it, obviously, but all these like status ailment points and stuff, you know, this Aizawa is going to be a very, very good PvE unit. And again, if you need those units, if you're struggling with some content, maybe throw a few gems at this guy. I would maybe throw 2-3 multis at the banner just to see. It is a 1.5 times rate banner, so you know it definitely is worth to potentially get the Aizawa. I believe his percentage that he had, that his featured rate is 1%, so that's a little, basically a lot higher than normal by 0.3%, but either way 1% is still 1%, so you can still possibly get him, and definitely a good chance to get him. Also, it's very good when it's a single based character banner, not a double based character like Kaminari Jiro's double banner. You have 2 characters fighting for the spot versus just the 1 character. So again, this is a good banner, especially since it's a singular fantasy unit. But I know a lot of you probably, like I mentioned, are saving for Vigilante Deku. Vigilante Deku is also a very good character, just to say that right now. But what I summon for Aizawa, or what I summon for Vigilante Deku over Aizawa, really again depends, but I would probably no, I probably wouldn't. And again, I mentioned this earlier, they probably released Aizawa before Deku because Deku wasn't, they didn't want Deku in Aizawa's banner at you know, at the 1.5 times banner for people to summon. They obviously want them to spend on Deku's banner. And then also there's the fact of their anniversary for JP's version. The JP anniversary for 2 years is coming up very, very soon in May, around mid to late May, roughly is when it should begin. So we have about a month and a half left until the 2-year anniversary, for month and a half, almost 2 months left until the 2-year anniversary, right? So, you know, with that 2-year anniversary coming up, if you're free to play, if you're 100% free to play, because anniversary is coming up, I would recommend skipping. That's my honest opinion. You don't have to follow this, by the way. These are my opinions and my thoughts to help you guys decide. But you're free to do what you want. You're free to summon on what you want. If you love the fantasy characters, if you love Fantasy Aizawa, by all means, summon for the guy already. Just do it. Summon for him. You don't have to feel bad for it. You don't have to feel bad for summoning on a character that you like to get. Definitely don't feel bad for that at all. But in my opinion, if you're free to play, I would wait. I would hold off on summoning for Aizawa and wait for the 2-year anniversary, because we'll see Aizawa come back. He will come back on a rerun banner at some point, probably like 2 or 3 months later. And he probably still will be pretty decent to run in PvE content by then as well. Unless they change banner formats and he's in a general pool for limited banners. That'd be great if they did that, but you know, we'll have to wait and see. But again, if what I summon for him right now as a free-to-play player, no, I wouldn't. If you're a light spender, like if you're like wanting to spend like a few bucks here and there to get some gems, if you're a light spender, at absolute maximum, if you're dying for some PvE characters to help you, beat some PvE content, this is the guy to do it. And if you are struggling with some PvE content, definitely would recommend this guy to summon for, but I wouldn't recommend going deep for him. Like, I wouldn't recommend going 10, 15, 20 multis. I definitely couldn't. I can't recommend that, honestly, unless you're an absolute whale. Whales, do what you want. You're going to summon whether or not that I say anything, regardless. But if you're a light spender, like you don't spend a lot of money on the game and you're looking to spend some money because it's like maybe your character or something like that, then that's fine. If you're wanting to spend money for the best possible like characters or the best possible opportunity to spend money, the 2-year anniversary is more than likely going to be the opportunity you're going to want to look for, is to save your money, save your gems for the 2-year anniversary. However, I would recommend, if you're able to, spend like 2-3 multis at maximum. At maximum, actually, if you have to go deeper than 2-3, then the maximum I can recommend is 5 multis at the least. If you don't get them in 5 multis, don't worry about it. Just be like, okay, I'm done. Bada bing, bada boom, we're good. Like, that's about it. 5 is the maximum recommended, because if you go 5, you can then, because there are no daily singles on this, by the way, you can't actually do dailies on it. So if you are looking to do at least 5 multis, then you can get his pieces. You can get 50 pieces from the shop right there and then be like, okay, cool, I got pieces for whenever he does come back and I'm able to summon for him again, right? So that's pretty much my thoughts and opinions. I feel like I was a little bit all over the place, but let me summarize this really quickly one more time. If you're free to play, save for 2-year anniversary, honestly. Save for 2-year anniversary. Don't summon on Aizawa. If your favorite character is Aizawa and you love the fantasy characters, by all means, go for it. Summon for what you want. But my recommendation, free to play, don't summon. Wait for 2-year anniversary. Unless you're dying for PvE content, dying for PvE characters to clear content, then I would recommend summoning on this guy, but not a lot. I would recommend at maximum 5 multis. If you can restrain yourself, 2-3 multis at best for you right there, minimum of that. But if you have to go the maximum of 5 multis, I would recommend for the free to play that really need him, or for light spenders. Whales, you're going to summon for him whether I say so or not, so it doesn't really matter. But those are my thoughts and opinions on should you summon for Fantasy Aizawa. Again, he is a very, very, very good PvE unit. And I mean, he could definitely help you out in some VE tower stuff as well. But honest to God opinion, save for anniversary. Anniversary, we're coming up on 2 years. I can imagine that stuff is going to be busted. Like, those units are going to be busted. Like, save your gems for it. I feel like it's going to be hype. So again, save your gems for anniversary is my best recommendation for all players right now. But again, summon for what you want. Summon for what you want at the end of the day. These are just my thoughts and opinions. Take them as you will. Take them with a grain of salt, whatever the case. But I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you're going to summon on Fantasy Aizawa. If you did you get him? Let me know down in the comments down below. Hopefully you had some good luck, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a fantastic day.